I'm Ashley Southall. I am a reporter on the Metro desk of the New York Times, and I cover policing and crime in New York City.
What is it like for you to be a reporter at the New York Times?
Um, it's a lot. There's a lot that's changing at the time. We're changing how we do our journalism, and we're changing to a more digital focus as opposed to print. The Times is known for being a newspaper, and more our digital report is central to what we do. And so we're always looking for topics that we can relate to our audience in a way where it's more two-way communication, not more so than what we used to do, where we just put out stories and there wasn't a lot of feedback except through reader mail. We now look to do things more interactively, and you look for a lot of reader input.
Is there one story that stands out to you that really touched you in a way where you wanted to absolutely just get it right?
I think that's usually the case for all of our stories. It's important to us to be fair and to be accurate and to also cast our stories and frame our stories in a way that gets at the heart of why it's important. Last year, I was a part of a team that did a series called Murder in the 4-0, and we looked at every murder in one precinct in the South Bronx and try to understand what happened, if the city did its part in keeping residents safe, if there was more that could be done to prevent those murders. And we did deep dives into people's lives. We sat with their families, people who were arrested for murders. We visited them in jail and tried to understand what led to these two people crossing paths and it ending in a homicide. And so those kinds of things are very sensitive. Murder is it's the ultimate crime. You're taking someone's life. You're taking them away from their families and friends, and you just want to and also being accused of murder is a very serious offense, and so you want to make sure that you're fair. You still have to be fair to both parties, and you have to try to understand. Our goal is to understand what New York can do to prevent more homicides. That's our driving down crime is our police commissioner's goal. It's our mayor's goal, but we have to ask the questions whether we are doing enough. And so that's our job.
Okay, so the one thing as a journalism professor, I have to strive to sort of teach the students how to be the best at what they can do, knowing how to find a good story, knowing how to research that story, and knowing how to write that story. So my question, when we think about the art of writing and reporting, what tips can you offer students on being the very best reporters and writers that they can be?
I think the best quality a reporter can have is to be curious, to want to ask questions about why things are the way they are, and just get at the heart of things and ask lots of questions. And you also have to kind of throw away your fears. If you want to know more about something, don't be afraid to ask about it. Don't be afraid to look silly or be the person asking the dumb question. If you want to know more, pursue it. Ask those questions. Look for more opportunities, and I would say become a subject matter expert. Find a topic that interests you and really go deep into it. But also don't be afraid to abandon things that have gotten boring and that no longer interest you.
So talk about the writing for me. Talk about what students need to know when it comes to writing a news story.
Okay. Well, before you write, it's important to talk to people and to read. I think those are things that make stories strong, and you find out a lot of information when you take the time to do the research and to talk to people who know more about things than you. And you find those people through reading about the topic that you're interested in. And so then when you're writing, people have different processes. Some people like to just do all the reading and interviewing first and jot it all down, and some people like to kind of storyboard. So you have to find your process, and it's good if you have even more than one process and kind of just sit back and think about what's the big picture here. And so that's what we do.
So you certainly are an inspiration to a lot of people when they see you, when they look at you. What do you say to someone who wants to be like you?
That's a good question. I would say don't be like me. I would say figure out what your interests are. If I had one quality that I think was worth emulating, I would say it's probably being curious and being willing. I'm known around the newsroom for not being able to walk away from a door. I'll knock, and if people say they won't talk to me, I'll just wait and I'll be patient. But you have to be. I would say be patient as well, because journalism, it used to be like you have one job and you move up to another job, and it used to be a ladder. It's more like a jungle gym now, and that's a good thing, and some it inspires fear in some people because there's a lot of uncertainty because the field is changing so much. But I would say if you love it, stick with it, and you'll be happy. I am.